Can we please settle down? Okay, a quick hand raise. Grade 6. Grade 7. Grade 7, a quick hand raise will be helpful. Please settle down. Grade 8. Grade 9. Why do I not see grade 9? Thank you. Grade 10. What just happened there? Okay. Grade 11. Is 12 with us here? 12's not joining us. Okay. So I'm assuming all of us are in. On a count of 5, I'm hoping that we'll be well settled. Yeah? 5, 4, 3. Which grade is that? Okay. May we begin? May we begin? Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, thank you. So we have a session and a very short one, but let's make it as meaningful as possible, right? You know all of us, we meet you in different capacities, but I'll quickly introduce all of us so that it's easier that way, right? That's Miss Miti, and grade 8, 9, and 10 meets her very often. That's Miss Himanshi, and she meets grade 6 and 7 very often, as much as I see grade 11 and 12, right? I'm Miss Hargun. First things first, if we were to look at the screen, there are 2 words mentioned. The first one says body positivity, and right underneath that we've written Anti-Bullying Day. Now a quick response will be helpful in terms of what do you think could be the correlation between the 2? What could be the correlation between these 2 words? Yeah. Thank you, Nandini. I think you made a very relevant point. Any other response? Why do you think are these 2 put together on a screen today? Thank you. Let's change the question a little. How many of us have heard the word bullying? Raise your hand. Thank you. So in a school setup, that's something that we hear very often. How many of us have heard the word body positivity? Thank you. Now, if I were to ask you if there's a correlation between the 2, what could be your response? Or is there any? Yes, please.
So if you aren't bullied, then you feel positive about your body because no one is there to make you feel ashamed about it. But whereas if you are bullied, most people are bullied because of their body shape. So if you are bullied because of that, so you feel negative about your body because someone's shaming you for that.
Thank you. That's a valid response. Anyone else would like to add to that in some way? Yes, please.
Body positivity and anti-bullying is interconnected because if you are bullied, you're body shamed and you develop very big insecurities about your face, your height, your body shape, if you're flat or if you're fat.
Okay, so let's go on to do a little exercise and we'll see how we build from there, right?
Hi guys, so you will see some statements on the screen, and when you do that, I want you to tell me whether you think it's a myth or whether you think it's a fact. All right? 72% of Indian youth believe that media portrayal significantly influences their body image perceptions. How many of you think it's a myth? Raise your hands. How many of you think it's a fact? You guys are absolutely correct. It's a fact. "95% of people with eating disorders are between the ages of 12 and 25. How many of us think it's a myth? Okay, how many of us think it's a fact? Guys, it is a fact. Because during adolescence and early adulthood, it is a critical stage in our life. We are still developing our body image, and if we combine, negative body perception with that, so you become more vulnerable to eating disorders. Having a positive body image means you love everything about how your body looks every day. How many of us think it's a myth? Okay, how many of us think it's a fact? Guys, body positivity is about respecting ourselves, accepting ourselves, celebrating our differences. It's not about unconditional positive self-regard. 2 out of 3 school-going children in urban areas have experienced body shaming, impacting their self-esteem and mental health. Fact. It's a fact? Guys over here, do you think it's a fact? Okay, how many of us think it's a myth? It is indeed a fact. And just look at the number, guys. 2 out of 3 school-going children. And all of this is happening in our schools. Just imagine. Thin people do not need to exercise. Wow. You guys are very well informed. Guys, exercise will benefit us regardless of our body size or shape. It is for our overall well-being, and it is a way to life. Getting lots of compliments on your appearance will give you a positive body image. Myth. Okay, guys, I want you to raise your hands. Myth. Fact. Guys, getting compliments may boost our confidence for some time, but it is also kind of setting a reference point or a standard for us to be a certain way. For example, if somebody is trying to lose weight and you tell them, "Oh, you're looking so pretty, have you lost weight?" Then that person is going to think that if and only if I will lose weight, will I be pretty, right? So we need to be mindful about what compliments we are giving to our peers. More than 40% of women and about 20% of men agreed they would consider cosmetic surgery in the future. Guys, if you think it's a myth, raise your hands. Myth. Okay. Fact. Some of you are not raising your hands either way, even if you think it's a myth or a fact. I want to see everybody raising their hands. Myth. Guys, myth. Fact. Just imagine the level of pressure that we are living in, the societal pressure that we are facing these days. Not only are we developing a negative mindset about our bodies, we are also willing to change certain aspects of our body. Being fat or thin is an individual's fault. Myth. Guys, raise your hands. Raise your hands if you think it's a myth. Fact. Okay, can anybody tell me why they think so? Can anybody volunteer from the audience? Why do you think it's an individual's fault?
Miss, because if they're eating too much food that's necessary for their body, it's their fault for gaining more weight.
And do we think that food is the only
It's
only
also the
factor?
exercise. If I'm eating a lot of food and having less exercise, that's going to increase my weight, and that's the reason. That's an individual's fault, not the another person. It's an individual's fault.
Okay, guys. So being
We
fat
have
or
Nandini ma'am, she wants to say something.
yeah.
I think it's a myth because sometimes it can be a disorder in the body itself and the person can actually be healthy but just look very fat or thin.
That's absolutely correct, Nandini. Thank you so much. It is a myth, guys. Weight is the only indicator of one's health. Guys, if you think it's a myth, raise your hands. If you think it's a fact, raise your hands. Fact. Our overall health is not just determined by weight. It is very complex. We are made up of our environment, where we live in, the access we have to kind of foods and everything else. All of that plays a significant role. Genetics, everything else plays a significant role in our overall health. 63% of Indian social media users feel pressured to conform to unrealistic beauty standards, leading to increased body dissatisfaction. Myth. If you think it's a myth, raise your hands. Okay, if you think it's a fact, you guys are absolutely correct. It's a fact. Body image issues only affect women. If you think it's a myth, raise your hands. Okay, how many of us think it's a fact? I'm very happy that you guys are aware of this. It's a myth. Yeah? So, yeah.
All right. So imagine only 10 statements, and even in those 10 statements, we had such myriad number of responses, and we had conflicts with respect to whether it's a myth or a fact, right? And that's how we function on a day-to-day basis in our complex minds, carrying ourselves to school, someday questioning who we are, someday questioning who the other person is, and it goes on forever till we live, right? Having said that, let's focus today in terms of how our environment and we placed in that environment have a role to play, a conscious one, and what is it that we can keep in check, maintaining the fact that we make an impact, whether it's positive or negative. So I'm dropping the word bullying today while we have this conversation, because I think we've all used these statements for ourselves and for others, and yet sometimes it can have an impact on another person like we would never know, yeah? Or on ourselves. Let's watch something and see where we go with that, yeah?
Hey guys, it's Ming, and that was No Filter.
All right. First feelers, is this looking a little relatable? In what ways? In what ways is this looking relatable? Let's come down because it'll be easier to take responses that way. Which part of it was relatable?
Arav Sapal wants to say something.
Oh, I feel this is very relatable to me. In what? How? Sometimes I post photos of myself on Instagram and I just don't get that many likes, and it really affects my mental health and my self-esteem. Right? People make fun of me because of my gorgeous lips, but they don't realize it actually, although God has given me this gift, some people do not think it is so. So yes.
Okay, Nandini, coming back to some people who are actually a little more serious today. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So, I'm Shaurya, and I understood that you should never hide your face. You should be visible in front of everybody. Yeah.
All right.
I can relate with this a lot since I admit that I am slightly insecure because of the texture of my hair and sometimes my skin.
So, while some of us are hiding behind our giggles and may also be making fun of some parts of our body, let's remind ourselves that when is it when we use humor the most? It's important. We are humorous, or we're making or hiding sometimes behind humor because there are some important parts of our lives that are stuck there. Yeah? So the nervous laughter also have an impact on what is it that we are putting behind at the back burner that we might not be ready to face. So a lot of us here are having a conversation in any case which is very difficult, which is something that we go through on a day-to-day basis, because let's admit that we're all growing up. We're all growing up at a different pace, and while it is all right for everyone to tell us it's all right, it's not all right for us because we are going through this every single day, right? So let's kind of bring our energy back and make this a little more meaningful a conversation and see where we can go with this with the limited time that we have. Sure? Thank you. Niti, do you want to take up the next?
Yeah. So I'm sure we all have posted at some point. It could be just a DP in your WhatsApp or some other platform you use. Has it ever happened that you do not relate to what you have posted? It feels like a different person. When you see, it's almost like you are observing from a distance who that person is. How will that person come across? Do we always relate to what we are posting, or there are times when we do not relate? Sorry?
Sometimes, like on my YouTube channel, I posted a dance video. I was forced to post by my parents, and after that, I feel it's not the inner me that I feel.
Thank you for being so brave enough to share that response. Sometimes you're forced into posting something. Okay?
Do you want to share?
I just want to say that I think that this is true and it's based off of real life, because like it's always that like you don't get that perfect look that people really image to be the perfect one, so they always just think that it's not good and all, although it is.
Thank you. So we're probably trying to match up to something. Is that what you're trying to say? And in that effort to match something, we tend to post pictures that kind of look similar to that.
We also like do surgeries to like make it look better. And we
Right.
do not really care about what I was going to happen by those surgeries.
Thank you. May I know your name? Samar, thank you. I think you're bang on where you used the word filter, because it's definitely serving a purpose, right? Okay.
So the thing is, I never post anything on Instagram, WhatsApp. The thing is, I don't even have social media that much. I don't even use it. So, but the only thing I do post is pictures about my food to make my family jealous.
So you found your purpose, right?
Yeah.
There was something that you wanted to have your family feel, which was jealous.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for raising that with us and sharing it. Anyone who's not spoken and gotten, yeah, there's one person there, I believe.
Did someone want to speak?
Okay, let's go on to the next question. Are there certain trends that you have tried simply because they were popular amongst your peer groups? Yes? A hand raise will be helpful to begin with. Yes? Come on, let's be honest. No? Okay. For the ones who have offered yes, is it okay for you to share a trend maybe?
So there's this trend going in social media called the Cheepy Cheepy Chapa Chapa song. So, like, most of the student in our school, like, you can say the sixth whole standard is singing that song because it went viral. Yes.
There is a trend called mewing, where you flex your jawline.
Okay, that's a new one for me. Thank you.
I have one, the sturdy right foot creep. Ooh, walking.
Is there a move that you do? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's a trend, yeah. A sturdy.
Sure. So a move that's gone viral. All right. We're pressed for time, so I'm going to come back to that, right? Okay. So let's do this very quickly. What are the kinds of things that you think make you feel best about your body?
My hair.
Your hair, okay. Thank you.
My height.
Your heart, thank you.
My legs.
Your legs, okay.
I'd say gym.
Sorry?
Gym.
You're gymming. All right. So each time you go to the gym, you feel really good about your body. Thank you.
My
please.
knuckles because they help me punch.
Miss my Riz.
All right. So for a lot of us who are older, are struggling to make sense of some of these words, which is all right. And I think it's something that's going to happen from time to time for us to connect the dots together. There's only one person who could possibly connect their heart while this question was raised. And that's okay. There's no right or wrong. But what is the purpose is that there's something beyond just how we look or appear that makes ourselves or our bodies or us beautiful. Yeah? We're going to move forward from here.
I also want to appreciate the energy. You know, a lot of people had your hands up wanting to share about something that you like about yourself. I am only hoping that we do remember that for ourselves as well, right? Because there are times when we do not like anything about ourselves. And in our heads, let's have that hand up, remind ourselves that there are these things that you do appreciate, right?
Let's watch something.
Now on the catwalk, Auntie G, Moti, Elephant, Mutakshi Sinha, khud kyun nahi ho jati khamosh. Wow. Imagine being called all that and worse on social media. Only because you put up a post that you thought was great. Trolls, that's what they're called, na? Those people who just want to kill your vibe. जिनके पास दूसरों को जज करने के लिए तो बहुत टाइम होता है और काम कम होता है तो कुछ भी बोलेंगे ऐਵੇਂ वो बोलते हैं और हम सुनते हैं कभी कभी we feel angry hurt even numb but अब तो हम हंसने लग जाते हैं क्योंकि ये लोग खुद एक मजाक है मैंने भी सुना बहुत सुना मुझे भी खटका मैंने भी सोचा कि अरे अब मैं तो 30 किलो कम कर चुकी हूँ अब भी इनकी टाटा चालू है That's when I said to hell with them. Kyunki Sonakshi Sinha is here for a reason. I made it as I was and I have nothing to hide. Not my curves, not my weight, not my image. I'm not a number on the scale. And that's what makes me bigger than them. Now on the catwalk.
All right. Two big questions. And, okay.
What what did her personal boundaries look like? You watched the video and I could see a lot of you relating. What did her personal boundaries look like based on what she shared?
The numbers on the scale, her weight, and being bigger than them.
Absolutely, right? That's something that stayed with a lot of us, right? That we are much more than just that.
So, miss, I understood from this video that you should, your weight is okay. You should not be scared of anybody. You should be.
Absolutely, thank you, right? As long as we are doing well, healthy, absolutely.
So I learned from this video that other people's opinions do not matter, and you only do what you want to do and whatever feels right.
Thank you.
Thank you. But it's a long journey to reach there, right?
I also wanted to say that the personal boundaries she wanted was that nobody can comment on her body except for her.
Absolutely. Yet, of course, when you put yourself out there, like she said, people decided to do something just because she posted something that she thought was nice. Right? I think that's the intention we all post on media. It's something that we find is nice and we want to share it with the world. Right? It's never with the intention to invite all the negativity that comes in. But it's a long journey to reach there, right? As much as we do tell ourselves that other people's opinions do not matter, it does get to us sometimes, right?
I learned from this video that the more she improved, the more the people judged them.
Interesting a point was made. And what do you think helped her overcome? So you said she's improving. And while she continued to improve on herself, more people joined the bandwagon to bring her down.
She ignored them.
She ignored them? Okay, thank you. Is it possible to ignore? Is it possible to ignore when so many comments and negative comments are probably made towards us?
Miss, it's sometimes difficult to control yourself, and when there are negative comments and when there are positive comments, then you like that you posted it.
Absolutely. I think something that was shown in the previous video, how the text changed from something like 26 people liked your photo, it changed into, if you were observing, 26 people liked you. How we see the likes on a photo as a like for ourselves, right? Or a dislike on social media becomes a dislike for ourselves, right? It's very difficult to not take it personally, right? In what ways in this video did the boundaries get violated? We definitely talked about how it looked like, the boundaries. How did it get violated? Did it get violated? Since we are all quiet, I'm just wondering. Yes, how?
I think the boundaries did get violated because they said for example cow on catwalk, they didn't really think she looked good. They didn't care about their opinion, but all opinions really just matter. So
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
I said that no one can comment on your body except for you, but they did comment on her body despite not knowing her properly.
Absolutely, right? It becomes everyone's business what somebody is looking like.
She was getting comments like the cow on catwalk, but if I ever got a comment like that, I would think of it as a cow because it's a sacred animal. So I would think
That's
of
one
it like
way,
that.
an interesting way to look at it, right? Thank you for sharing. Let's also, since we discussed that we do get affected by other people, no matter how difficult it is, let's try and look at certain things we can do in that scenario, right?
Right. So, I think let's take it as a given that we live in a social environment and that there will be people who will say things, right? Now, first things first, we have to make sure that there are certain things that are completely non-negotiable and no reasons for you to accept as long as and when they are violating your boundaries, your personal boundaries, right? And when that happens, the right choice to make is to make sure that you speak about it. Then there are part two to it, where there are certain things said in a very, very layered way to us. It could be in fun, it could be in good jest, it could be in terms of having to say what I can say to a friend. Now that's where you have to take another call. Whether you share that relationship with that person, whether you also say some things like that which is not taken personally by another person, and that's how you develop the rapport of maybe saying things like how we probably refer to a bud or a buddy in our social environment. Third is where I'm probably making sure that I am also knowing who I'm becoming, which means that if I'm choosing to possibly violate somebody else's boundaries, saying things, then them coming back to me in return are much more higher because I've already set the ground to this with respect to how I'm treating another person. Yeah? Which also means that to me, being treated a certain way is also higher. So raise your bar with respect to how you wish to be treated by simply making sure how you also treat another. Now that's a lot of gyan, right? Fifth thing is, irrespective, things will happen, people will say things, and we will feel bad sometimes. What is it that we'll do to make ourselves a much more stronger person who can move forward? I'm going to come back to you on this one. Miss Smriti, would you want to take up the first one?
All right, so the first one is increasing self-awareness and decreasing comparison. These are big words in just one sentence. What do we understand by it? How will self-awareness lead to a better sense of how you feel about yourself and your body? What kind of awareness about yourself? So, I think she needs.
When you post something and you look at different people's posts, you shouldn't compare yourself with them.
Absolutely. I think we spend hours and hours scrolling, comparing one person, which is us, to 100 people that we are looking when we are scrolling, right? Somebody's great in sports, which they have posted. Somebody has posted about a happening party that they have been to. Somebody who's traveling. Somebody who's, I think, getting admission in some college, which is very well reputed. And one person gets compared to 100 different things that 100 different people are doing, right? So being aware of what it is doing to yourself, right, is very important to build or maintain a positive body image. Yes?
So, like if I see a post of someone's that has a better physique than me, I'll obviously compare that. I will take all the good points from it. So comparing can sometimes be better or beneficial for someone rather than just being fat or thin. You can improve yourself daily. So I think comparing but sensibly is better than not comparing.
Absolutely. I think what you are trying to convey is not compare, but probably get motivation, get strategies. If somebody is doing better, asking yourself, what can I do more or less of in order to reach there? Because that's something even I want for myself, right? Thank you.
You shouldn't really compare yourself to others because it's just an estimate.
Sometimes there are
because
times.
it's just an estimate.
Sometimes there are times that I see a post on Instagram by a celebrity, and I sometimes compare myself and compare how we look differently, our skin and our physique, and then I realize later on that these celebrities, they've gotten so many procedures done. Sometimes it can be all natural. It's up to, we never really know. But sometimes they have 100 rupees worth of procedures, so much work done, products that they use, and then I realized that I'm just comparing myself negatively. So
Absolutely, and I think I can speak behalf on so many of us that there have been times when we have compared to somebody that we have seen on social media, a celebrity or a player or whatever that might be. Yet, what we do not realize is what goes behind all of that. There was I think, a celebrity that spoke earlier. I don't remember who, but she said that we have a team of people dedicated. Hours and hours go behind that all natural look that we show, right? But what we do see is just that magazine cover or an appearance and directly just compare that and not the process that goes behind, right? So it's important not to just take things at face value and appreciate the things that we have.
So guys, have you ever noticed engaging in self-talk? Do you guys talk to yourselves? A lot? How is it like to talk to yourself? Have you ever observed in which direction it goes? Negative. Very bad.
Guys,
And
just
what
raise your
happens
hands
then?
if you want to say something.
What does it do to our well-being? What does it do to our mood?
Guys, hello, everyone.
Guys,
Listen.
raise your hand.
Hello, everyone.
Whosoever wants to
We are
answer.
trying to have a meaningful conversation in between. You are leaving for washrooms. If you want to say something, hello, come back. Hello, come back, please. Half an hour, you have to control yourself. And if you want to say something, please raise your hand. Is that clear? Yes.
Yes. Nivriti, you want to say something?
Yeah, so whenever I talk to myself, like, I just think to myself, okay, so I start overthinking and then I just zone out.
Okay.
And
So you're
then
saying that it just doesn't lead anywhere?
It is sometimes negative, mostly negative actually. I don't
Mostly
know.
negative.
Yeah, because I overthink. Overthinking isn't the best.
Okay. Yes, Nandini? It's always negative. Okay. So guys, we are, all of us over here are agreeing that when we are engaging in self-talk, it is leading in a negative direction. And in turn, it is also affecting our confidence and self-esteem. So what can we do to improve on that? Let's be mindful of how we are talking to ourselves. Practice kindness, but first practice kindness to your own self. Speak kindly to yourself, as it will help you in rewiring your brain. It will shift your focus from what you don't have or what you're lacking to what you actually have or to what you're actually good at, right? And make sure to speak kindly to yourself and use statements that resonates with you, that seems meaningful to you, and that you feel can encourage you. All right? Can anybody give me an example of a self-affirmation that they use currently?
Yes, Rashmi.
Everything's going to be all right and I'm on the good track.
That's a great one. Thank you. Nandini, you want to say something? Okay, that's one way of it. So moving on, spend some time with yourself. I know it might seem, not doable, as they say that you should be with everybody, socialize and all of that, but it is very important and it is actually healthy to spend some time with your own self, to engage in activities that you enjoy. And while you are doing that, while you are introspecting, while you are being with your own self, think about the things that your body does for you, rather than how it looks, how it is helping you go to some place, how your legs are moving, how your heart is beating, how your system is helping you digesting food. So let's be grateful for that, rather than just thinking about the fact that how we look. Okay.
So I'm not sure if this is 100% relevant, but this is about comparing yourself to others. So as we said earlier, we should stop scrolling and comparing ourselves to others. So recently, I've been trying something new, which is meditation. So basically, when you meditate, you're slowly increasing your attention span. And when you scroll, it's slowly decreasing your attention span. So meditation slowly increases it back up. So you stop scrolling, and then you would therefore stop comparing yourself to others.
That's actually a great idea, and that's also something that you can practice while you are spending some time with your own self. Yeah?
All right. Thank you. I think I just want to make a quick response to that. What you're also probably saying here is that when you meditate, you align yourself better. And when you align yourself better, you reach to a point where you're making good choices or you're making your own choices. So a lot of times when we see ourselves in trouble or when we're going through a rough patch, the first reaction or the way we choose to possibly operate is by having to have our environment blamed for it, right? But the truth of the matter is the environment will remain, the concern will remain, and we'll have to act on something. Which means that one of those exercises that you mentioned brings you back into an awareness in terms of how do I make a choice to change something that I wish for myself, right? Go on. And the last is, please don't hesitate to seek for help. When I say that, you don't wait on when something goes wrong with your tooth, for example. You'll be the first one to cry out loud, put yourself in a car and drive to the nearest person who can probably fix it. Now, I'm not saying things can be fixed like that, but sometimes when we're just thinking aloud, speaking to ourselves in the presence of another person who can contain it, we'll probably do better. And that's all that is required a lot of times in life, right? So bullying will take place in segments. We will experience it in ways, in a lot of degrees. What's important is how are we acting on it? How are we acting in it? And that's all that is required. Yeah? Thank you. Will the council help us with the dispersal? The student council?
Okay, guys, can MYP1 please start moving from the left?